Retro Retake here, coming at you with another episode for the Mechanics Corner. So today we have another case review, and this is the Eclipse P400 by Phanteks. Now this is one of our other members, Steph, for his upcoming Ascension with his very own and first computer build. I'd like to start off with Phanteks to say about the case themselves, which is Phanteks continues to use user-friendly design with the new Eclipse series P400. Without much effort, the P400 allows users to create a clean and beautiful system. Ambient RGB illumination adds character, while the solid metal exterior gives the case a simple, elegant design. The P400 is suitable for beginners and experienced system builders with all extra features. So we're going to have a quick look inside of those features and give you our verdict on whether or not Phanteks have lived up to their statement on ease of use and a clean and elegant build. Starting with the front of the case, you have quite an angular approach with a matte finish, which unfortunately attracts those dirty fingerprints. Underneath the little ledge at the bottom, you have a singular RGB strip, which adds a little bit of accent to the front of the case, along with a metallic Phanteks logo. This front panel can be removed quite easily by applying a little pressure to the bottom ledge, revealing the fan mounts beneath. The P400 supports up to 3 120mm fans and up to 2 140mm fans in the front, depending on the configuration of the inside. The intake of these fans comes from beneath the ledge and at the top, both of which are covered by quite a flimsy little fan filter. The front I/O for the case is situated at the top of the case towards the front and offers 2 USB 3.0 ports, as well as your headphone and microphone jacks. It features a nice large power button, and a reset button is actually underneath the top of the ledge, along with a cycle button for the RGB lighting and 3-stage fan controller. It would have been nice here to have included some USB 2.0 ports, although these are quite redundant in speed thanks to USB 3.1 being released. They are still quite handy for small file transfers and easy access at the front of the case. Along the top of the case, you have 2 removable fan covers that are magnetic and reveal the mounting options for the top exhaust fan, these being either 2 120mm or 2 140mm fans. Moving to the back of the case, we have all 7 expansion slots that give you access to a full-size ATX motherboard, a single and specifically 120mm rear exhaust fan that can be moved up or down depending on the CPU cooler installed. The rear also includes a bottom-mounted power supply cutout that you would want to install fan face down due to the basement in this case, leading us to the smaller fan filter that covers the intake for the power supply. Both side panels feature captive thumb screws, which is a very nice feature to see, as well as having quite a nice weight to them, possibly given by the sound dampening material found on each of the panels. The left side panel features a large tinted window, which unfortunately is plastic, and allows you to see through the entire interior, sparing the basement below. Inside the main chamber of the case, we only get 2 rubber grommets. Bearing in mind these are fairly large, it would have been nice to have a few more along the bottom for the front I/O connectors, or along the top for the fan headers and the CPU power connector. The official documentation states that the P400 does support up to 6 hard drive bays, 2 of which are included. Now at first, that does sound a bit weird, but once you open up and actually discover where the hard drives sit, it dawns on you. The 4 cutouts towards the front of the case are where you can buy additional hard drive kits to expand storage of your 3.5-inch drives. Clearances within the P400 are quite minimal too, as the case supports a CPU cooler with a height of up to 160mm, which would include a majority of your 120mm tower style coolers, with a few exceptions, but not your 140mm or bigger. For the graphics cards, you have up to 395mm without anything in the front of the case, or up to 280mm when using those additional hard drive kits. The basement of this case does cover up the entire bottom portion of the case, hiding those ugly power supply cables and keeping it sanctioned off from the rest of the case. If you are wanting to add a radiator in the front, you can have up to 240mm in size without changing much of the internals. Adding anything larger than a 240mm radiator up to 360mm means that you have to remove the midplate from the basement, and depending on the thickness, the ability to have hard drive bays altogether. Spinning the case around gives you a good look of what's behind the motherboard tray. The P400 comes equipped with 3 Velcro ties to aid you in that main spine of cables. It is quite disappointing with the fact that this case doesn't come with many cable tie hooks to route the cables in another direction, but with about an inch of room you should be okay with squeezing all those cables behind that tray. With this view, you also get a look at the included hard drive bays, 2 of which, the 3.5-inch bays, are beneath the basement midplate and offer probably one of the better toolless installation methods that I have seen. The dedicated SSD mounts use Phanteks' drop and lock system, which feels somewhat stiff for my liking and does require you to screw them into the holding plate. In regards to power supplies, the P400 supports ATX standard with a length of 270mm, so pretty much unlimited length. Included with the case, you get 1 bag with a couple of zip ties and screws necessary for installation. The P400 does only come with a single sheet quick installation guide, which does not go into much detail, and in fact, we needed to head over to their website for full manual to understand some of the features of the case.
So, what was our verdict on the case?
We decided to go to the good, bad and the ugly approach that we haven't used in the past. The good points we like about the case: the steel construction, which gives good weight to the side panel, the large tinted window, plenty of room behind the motherboard for the cables, and a basement to hide the power supply. For parts that we found bad or lacking, we have need to buy upgrade kits to have additional hard drives, proprietary connections for the LED strips, and included accessories feeling somewhat lacking with the inclusion of a manual. For the ugly, we have the material finish that attracts fingerprints, the 10 color RGB strip, which isn't software controlled, so obviously these are aspects that Phanteks could improve on later. They're not really bad, they're not really great, they're just in between, thus the ugly category. So if you guys like the video, give this a like. If you like these types of videos, give it a like as well, I guess. Comment on what you think we could improve on as well. If you haven't already, subscribe. But for now, adios.